Well, good morning, everybody. It's morning over here, but good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds and my veteran subscribers. As always, much love to you for all that you do, help and support the channel. So today is a live stream day. Now, y'all are asking yourself why I said no holds barred. Well, there's a lot cooking that's on the pipe that's going to be coming down from now until January, from what I'm hearing. So, but first, there's a concern that I have that it's really concerning to me that people are talking about Windows 11. You know, they're having issues with Windows 11 and stuff, and they don't want to lose their data from when they go from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Okay, now this, I'm going to give a helpful hint to you, and we're going to start this off by like this. Okay, if you have a secondary drive, like your motherboard can hold a second M.2 drive, then clone, before you go on to Windows 11, clone your Windows 10 and all your data onto a secondary drive, and then after that, you shut down your system, you take out that secondary drive, the clone drive, and then you start it back up. And then if you want to go to Windows 11, then you can upgrade to Windows 11 from that. Okay, from the main drive that you got in there. Now, having the second drive that's off to the side, that is going to keep all your data for Windows 10. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about, well, you have to reinstall Windows 10 in order to go backwards and you lose all your data and this and that. Well, you know, if you don't want to lose your data, and I'm bringing that point very carefully to everybody. You don't want to lose your data, then, you know, you got to plan. Sorry about this. I'm kind of moving things around here. You kind of got to plan smart, okay? You plan smart before you start on this adventure. Now, you don't want to lose your data on Windows 10. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to duplicate your... There's free software out there that can take and clone your drives. Okay. I think Rufus or some other stuff like that out there. Definitely there'll be something out there for you to help you clone your drive. That's freeware. So you can go from one drive to the next. Make sure you use a clean drive. You know. And make sure that it's formatted, and then take and open up cloning software and then clone it from point A to point B. Now, if you got a SATA drive that's an SSD, then clone it to an SSD, and then make sure you pull it out of the system after you're done. You know, turn your system off and take it out of your system and keep it off to the side. This way, it doesn't get disturbed by, you know, any updates that Windows does, you know, and you don't overwrite it for some odd reason. So you have a backup plan. Now, I just wanted everybody to understand, to have a backup plan, that if you don't want to go back, you know, you don't want to reinstall the software again, You can always do it that way. And that way, if you run into any problems to where you don't want Windows 11 and you want to go back to Windows 10, then you can take and plug that drive that you done made a clone of back in there and make that your primary drive. And then you can clone it back onto your main drive. Format your main drive and then clone it back onto your main drive. And then take the secondary drive that you had after you're done and pull it back out. And now you're back on Windows 10. So you don't lose your data. So everything, when it clones exactly everything from the main drive to your secondary drive. So this way you don't lose your data at all. This is just a helpful point and tip because this is what I do. Okay, and also make sure you get your drink and snacks. And yes, I do this. The reason is because I don't want to lose lose all the stuff that I put together on my drive. All the apps and everything else. It just becomes a headache, your passwords and all that, everything that you set up. It's too much of a headache. And that's where everybody, kind of says, well, I really don't want to go to Windows 11 because of this. Well, you can go to Windows 11 if you want to. But if you clone your drive onto a secondary drive and then pull it out of your system, then guess what? You're not losing your data. So, but if you want to test the theory of the clone drive to make sure it worked correctly, what you do is you clone it onto a secondary drive, then you turn your computer off, then you pull out your main M.2 or your main SSD or whatever you got. You pull it out of there and just use the secondary drive as your startup drive, your boot up drive. As long as you do it, you put it in the BIOS and you put it as your primary drive. So when you boot up on that drive, it should boot you right back into Windows with everything that you got. So you test and make sure everything is there. And that way, for sure you're now set to go to Windows 11, or you can leave your main drive off and use your secondary drive and put Windows 11 on it and go upwards to Windows 11 if you want to. But if you're not happy and satisfied with Windows 11, then pull out your secondary drive, put your main drive back in, and go back to Windows 10. I mean, you can flip-flop the drives if you want to. I mean, you can do that as well, as long as it's set to the computer that you're using it for. Then you shouldn't have any problems with it. So if you decide you want to go to Windows 11, you got a drive set up for Windows 11, then you can plug that drive in and take your Windows 10 drive out, and flip them back and forth. At least doing it that way, you are assured that you don't lose your data in any which way. So you got two drives. Yeah. But is it a lot easier to just flip the drives? Yeah. Is it a lot harder to take and put your data all back onto one drive again and do that over and over? Oh, yeah. That's a lot worse to do, to take all your data and put it back on, onto your drive and then set all your passwords and all that stuff. It's just too much of a headache for that. But what makes it simpler, just clone your drive and you're set. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that to you because I know I've seen a lot of videos on people talking about the fact of, well, if you go and you step up to Windows 11 and, you don't like it and you want to go back to Windows 10, you got to take and you're going to lose all your data. I've seen many videos like that, but what they don't tell you is that you can clone your master drive onto a secondary, and you can take it out, or you could use your secondary drive and pull out your main drive and use your secondary drive to put Windows 11 and run it for a test. And if you like it, then, then you can, run with your secondary drive for Windows 10. But most of your motherboards now these days got two M.2 slots. So, like your B550 motherboard, mine's got 2 slots. So you can use either or slot, to run for your master Windows boot up program. So if you want to just, I would get 256 gigabyte or a 1 terabyte drive. It's cheap enough to get a 1 terabyte drive. Populate both of my M.2s, and if I want to put Windows 11 on one and not the other and keep the other one Windows 10, then I have that option. So I can take out, clone my master M.2 to my secondary M.2, and then pull my master M.2 out, and then make my secondary my master for Windows 11. Which I am going to do. I haven't done that yet, but I am going to do it. So just to let you know, you can do it. If that's what you're looking to do. Okay. If you're looking to do that, then that would be something for you. Okay. I'm not steering you in the wrong direction. I'm steering you in the right direction, because a lot of people, when they take and they upgrade to Windows 11, they make the simple mistake. They have all their files and everything else onto, their master drive, but they're not satisfied with Windows 11. So they want to go back to Windows 10. And guess what? You have to end up reformatting your whole drive, and you're stuck with no files, no nothing, starting over. So you don't want to get stuck into that spot. Microsoft should have come up with a better way for when, if they give you the 10-day rule, but when you go back to Windows 10, they should have been able to reverse everything and put everything back on your drive with Windows 10. Microsoft should have had that set that way, but they don't. So, but if you want a solution to the problem, then take your master drive, your master M.2, and clone it to a secondary drive. This way, you can use your secondary drive as your master drive for Windows 11 and upgrade to Windows 11. And if you don't like it, then you can take your your secondary drive out and put your master drive back in, and guess what? Now you're back on Windows 10. So you get the best of both worlds. Even though that the M.2 drives are like $35 each. I mean, you can get two 1 terabyte M.2 drives, have one for Windows 10, one for Windows 11. I mean, take your pick. But going up to Windows 11, you do lose some of your programming. And they do state this. You do lose some of your programming that you had on Windows 10 when you go to Windows 11. So do keep that in mind. But if you want to adventure into Windows 11, then it'd be best to clone the drive and then take your clone and use that to go up to Windows 11. Just a helpful advice. I just wanted to bring this tip out to you really closely so you all know that's the best way to do it. I mean, you spend $30, $35 on an M.2 drive. They're not, I mean, if you go to get an SD, one of those USB drives, like one of these. You know how much these cost? About the same as an M.2 drive. Especially when this right here is 128 gigabyte. So think about it. You know, I mean, you can clone, you'd probably be best off too. You can clone your whole drive to here, but that'll take too long. That'll take way too long to clone that from that point to that point. But if you do it from M.2 to M.2, you're good to go. Helpful hints to y'all, and I want to say good morning again to everybody that is here. You know, I see we got a couple in already. All right. Stories about the things we've been talking about, the leaks. There's been some leaks that have been going on around the community. Now, the leaks are that they're saying that AMD Ryzen the leak is that they're going to slip out with the 9000 series processors. I wanted to touch base on this a little bit with everybody because they said they're coming out with the 9000 series processors. And I'm like, whoa, they didn't even get past the 8000 series processors. But from what I'm hearing, that the 8000 series processors are the APUs, the integrated graphics. They're going to use the 8000 series for the integrated graphics processor series. And they're going to use the 9000 for your regular normal processor series. But this is just being leaked. This is just being leaked out about the 9000 series. But the 8000 series, the G series, looks like it's going to be a go-through. It looks like it's going to be a go-ahead. So if you're wondering, oh, good morning, Machine. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Now understand, before I go on with the AMD story, I want y'all to understand the reason why I decided to switch for this week. I just switched the times on the stream. Well, I figured it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I figured that from 8 to 10 I had nothing cooking. So why not do the stream then? Well, and you know, I might as well get a head start on it because I got more videos I got to sit there and put together and stuff like that for y'all for, you know, Sunday and stuff like that. So I have a lot of things going on today. I wanted to get the stream done and I want to get you guys going on that and say, you know, here we go. So, but I'm glad you made it. You know, I'm glad you made it. The AMD, now, I've been dealing with AMD for many of years, okay? Been dealing with them. All, their products and everything else. I've been dealing with it many a years. Okay. Now, where their processors come in light, they just put out the what was it, the AM5 series. You know, they just went from AM4 to AM5, and it's only been a year since the AM5 first came out. And yes, I have not jumped forward to the AM5 yet for the simple fact with the AM5, they're still having the heating issues with the processors, you know, and the X3Ds. People are talking about, you know, the couple people were talking about them blowing up or shorting out the motherboard or something like that. And then they come up with a fix for that. But it's still the fact of that the processors get up to 100 degrees C. You know, and when you look at it like at 185, 190 degree Fahrenheit, it's almost to the point of boiling water. Okay, there is no processor in this world that's going to handle up to the boiling point of water. Is you're gonna kill the silicon that's in that processor, running it that hot all the time. You're going to kill that processor in a matter of a month or two. You'd be lucky to get to 3. So is there going to be a 40, 60, 12 gigabytes? Well, no, don't be sorry about it. Hey, look, if you bring in a question and you put it right here in the chat, I'm going to answer it regardless, no matter if it's on subject or it's off subject. This is no holds barred. Basically, if you got a question you want to bring up, bring it. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Now, you're saying, so is there going to be a 4060 probably TI 12 gigabyte? Or 4060 12 gigabyte. In the works, they don't have anything for that right now. I don't see anything in the works. Okay. Oh, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. But for right now, I don't see anything in the works for the 4060 12 gigabyte or a TI 12 gigabyte. They got the 8 gigabyte and they got the 16 gigabyte, but I doubt they're going to have a 12 gigabyte. You know, what they do got cooking is the 4080 Super, the 4070 Ti Super, the 4070 Super, but I don't see them having anything for the 4060 Ti or the 4060. And I don't see them having anything for the 4090 right now as it is. So on that aspect, no, I don't foresee. Plus they got CES coming up in January as well. So with the only way we're really when it gets closer to January and closer to the time for CES, then there'll probably be more leaks. You know, they'll probably come out with something, but from what I'm seeing right now, nothing really for the 4060 or the 4060 Ti. They might. Now, don't get me wrong. They might. Okay. All of those are out of my budget. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What kind of budget are you looking for? You know, let's just see what kind of budget you're looking for. Are you looking at a $200 range, or are you looking at a $300 range kind of budget? I usually tell everybody to stay within $200 to $300 if you want to stay to a decent minimal budget. You know, I usually tell everybody that. Even though that most of your graphics cards right now at a $200 to $300 budget are going to be the 8 gigabyte VRAM graphics cards. You know, but when you want to go to a 12 gigabyte VRAM graphics cards, then you know you're going to be up into a higher budget. You're going to be between the $500 and the $600 range. A 500 or less that will work with the 600 watt PSU. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm running the RTX 4070 and I got a 750 watt PSU, and I'm using nowhere near, with this graphics card. I mean, just on normal everyday thing, I'm only using like maybe 40 or 50 watts on that. But if I put it on heavy gameplay, I'm using all the way up to 200 watts. But even if I look at your 600 watt PSU, okay, I'm just going to break this off to you. If I look at your 600 watt PSU, okay, take 200 watts away from that, it still leaves 400 watts. Now, there's nothing in this God creation that tells you that motherboard's going to pull 400 watts. You see my point? So you have to understand that. Okay. Well, even if you game heavy, you still got a 200 watt variance in between there. If you get a 200 watt graphics card, you still got a 200 watt variance. Because your motherboard's not going to pull over 200 watts unless you got one of those hefty duty, like AM5, the 7950X kind of motherboards. Oh. Yeah, but that's only 100 and that's only about 125 watt. And you allow 75 watts for your motherboard. So you're only doing 200 watts. And a 200 watt graphics card, that's only 400 watts. Still leaves you a 200 watts to spare. And plus the power supply, if it's a 80 plus gold, should be be able to handle a 10% spike. Okay, it's the B650 still. B650 is still going to be, with all the stuff that's plugged into it, it's still going to be about 75 watts. And your processor, you'd be lucky to get that over 225 watts for the motherboard and the processor and all the fixings that's on it. Well, just to say, well, it's a gold, that's good. That's good. But you're only looking to spend about maybe 425 watts. If you really pushed it, maybe 450. But as far as anything above that, because mine, if I push mine out balls to the wall, okay, I can push mine all the way up to about maybe 470, 480. But I got, a 200 watt graphics card, and my motherboard, pulls whatever it pulls, but that's pretty much it. So you really have to think about that. 600 watts, you can get away with a lot on 600 watts. You can. So it's something to think about too, because, if you think it's going to kill your power supply running, even if you're going to run like a 4060 Ti, you're still going to be pushing it up close to the same as a 4070. So giving that light, and if you're looking to spend $500, then why don't you go to the RX 7800 XT for a couple extra dollars and run the 7800 XT? They're supposed to be power efficient. No, maybe 6 watts, 7 watts. If it's an AIO cooler, it should only pull 6 or 7 watts. It shouldn't pull that heavy off of your power supply, if that's what you're wondering. It shouldn't pull that heavy. The only thing that'd be pulling heavy is your graphics card and your processor. So those are the only two things that mainly pull heavy off of your power supply. Now, as far as if you're using the AIO pump, that's like an extra fan. It's just like an extra fan plugged in. So maybe you're only pulling like between 3 and 6 watts, maybe. Depending on, it shouldn't depend on, most of your AIOs don't run that heavy when it comes to as power draw and wattage. So I don't foresee you having any problems running a 7800 XT. I really don't. So if, especially when they're $500 and you got a $500 range, might as well, if, you, with your gaming, and you enjoy your gaming, that might be the route you want to go. Yeah, well, let's do this. Let me go ahead and switch the screen real quick. Okay, now we're going to do this. I'm going to do this just for you. We're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go open up and we're going to do some investigating. We will do some investigating. Today is investigation day. So let's go ahead and pull up, let's say, Amazon. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go to Amazon. Now, 7800 XT. Okay. Now, they got one right here on Amazon. 16 gigabytes for $519. $520. $20 more. $20 over your budget. Okay. So, they got one here. Amazon. Or you can go PC Part Picker and see what you can do there. Okay, now let's go here and let's do the RX 7800 XT specs. Don't worry, we're going to get through this. Let's go ahead and do the specs. Okay, now you're wondering what the power draw is. Okay, now we're going to get to that. Let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, you see what's on my screen? Right here? What's this say? Suggested PSU, 600 watts. Did I not guess that or what? 600 watts right here. Because they say it only pulls 263 watts. Okay, but the suggested PSU is 600 watts. Because they configure in for the motherboard, the processor, the RAM. They configured in for your fans and everything else that the total would only equal up to with the graphics card at 600 watts. Not even that. So if they suggest a 600 watt PSU, then obviously you're in the right direction. And the power connectors is 2 8 pins. Oh, it looks like it is. Let's see what else you got. Look at this. The FP64 is 1,166 G flops. That is astronomical. I always look at that because that tells me more. Okay. The L3 cache is 64 megs of L3. L2 is 4 megs. L1 is 128 kilobytes per array. That means, per core. RT core is 60. Compute units is 60. The ROPs are 96. TMUs is 240. And the shading units is 3,840. Okay. Now the bandwidth is 624.1 gigabits per second. Now the RTX 4070 is 502.1 or 2 gigabits per second. This is actually a little bit faster than the 4070. The G flop is basically like, oh God, it's been a while since I've had it. It's been a while since I've been asked it. Let's see. I know this I shouldn't even be doing this, but it's been so long since I've remembered how to do this. Okay. There we go. Flops is a measure of computer performance. Useful fields in scientific computations that require floating point calculations. For such cases, more accurate measure than measuring instruction per second. Okay, so basically, right here is your answer. Flops equal cores x cycle seconds times flop cycles. So basically, the instruction second is, instead of going by instruction seconds, they go by G flops, basically. So it's instructions per second. It's basically what it is. I know that doesn't sound like it's a really good answer, but it's the best answer I got for you for now. It's been so long that since somebody asked me that question, So I do apologize because I couldn't come up with the answer right away. So, okay, now it's 16 gigs. Now get this, 16 gigs. GDDR6, 256-bit bus, 256-bit bus. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. 7800 XT is $499 on AMD's website. Well, is that what you really want? Do you want a Founders Edition? Are you looking for a Founders Edition, or would you rather have an AIB partner card? Do remember, now I'm going to give you a helpful hint. AMD, a Founders Edition card, they get stingy with the amount of power that the card can use. So basically, everybody likes the Founders Edition. They say they're more powerful than the cards from Asus and MSI, Gigabyte, and all sort. The difference is the partner cards, they put between 3 and 7% more performance on their cards compared to a Founders Edition card. So you get more performance out of an AIB partner card than you do an actual Founders Edition card, because, you know, they get stingy. So, and that's usually because they want you to pay for the power, but they don't want to give you the power, basically, when it comes to the Founders Editions. Me, I have an overclocking card. You know, if you look right over here, if see this box right here, see this box, see what that says? That says OC Edition. This says OC Edition right here, 12 gigabytes. See right here? Okay, that's the card I got in my computer right now. Okay, with the Founders Edition, they don't give you this. They don't give you this right here. They don't give you the OC Edition. You get whatever you get on the card, that's it. But if you get one from Asus or MSI or Gigabyte or, you know, whoever out there, they're going to give you more performance. So you might want to go with a partner card compared to going with the card that is a Founders Edition. Not unless the only reason they come out with the Founders Edition was because of the collectability. People wanted collectibles. Okay. And that's basically what they did it for, was basically the company made a collector's edition. So, and everybody else, if you want, more power or whatever, then you would have to go with the AIB partners. They're allowed to give you a little bit more power on their cards, per se, their contract with AMD or NVIDIA. Okay. They're allowed a variance in the power. Not much, but they're allowed a little bit of variance. And that might be something that you might want to think about, because, if you get a Founders Edition card, you might not get the power that you want out of it. You might be having more restrictions on the card than, compared to a card from MSI or Asus or Gigabyte or whatever such. So my analogy from a couple friends of mine that are down in the South that test cards all the time, they told me like this. They said, if you get a Founders Edition, it's more or less like a collector's piece. That's all it is. Far as power and everything else, you can get it up to a certain point, but then the card will crash. But with the AIB partner card, like MSI, Asus, and Gigabyte, you can push their limits a little bit higher. You can push the power limits a little bit higher. It's not so much you're pushing voltage and everything else. It's so much you're pushing the frequency of the processor, pushing it up higher, getting you more FPS and everything else. That's something you might want to consider. So, me, I don't collect Founder Edition cards. If I'm going to spend that kind of money on a card, I want a card that looks good, that doesn't look like, last year's generation, the year before, oh, the case has gotten thicker and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I want something that's going to have a little bit of flair to it, pizzazz like this, instead of it looking like something that looks like it, it's wrapped around a box. I'll give you a good point of analogy on that. Let's see. Um, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture. Okay, let's go back to the action screen. Okay, like this. Like the 3090. Okay, this is just an example for you. These are your Founders Edition cards. This is for nvidia. Or, you got one that looks like this. Or, you got one that looks like this. Or you got one that looks like that. The basic runaround of a graphics card. The basic look of a graphics card. But if you want, like a gaming graphics card, then that's what you're looking for because you game, and that's what you want. You want a gaming graphics card for PCs. You want something to have a little bit of flair. So at least that one doesn't look like a Founders Edition card. At least, it looks better, my view. Or something like this, or something like this, or something like this, something that's got RGB on it. This is the point I'm making. These are the AIB partner cards. These are the kind of cards that you really want to be, that you really want to get your hands on. So if that, when you look at it like this, you look at the factors of which is going to look better. You're going to get a card that doesn't have any lights, or, let's say you like RGB and you want it on your graphics card. You really think you're going to get that from AMD, or you're going to get that from NVIDIA? No, you're not. What, for $20 more? For $20 more, you get a better looking card? Like, let's see. Something like this. I mean, this doesn't have RGB on it, yes, but it doesn't look that bad neither, no. Now, if you want to go back and look for RGB, you can go back and, and type in RGB. I mean, look, right here. For, let's say, for $529. Here. Let's say for $529. Okay, you want a Hellhound, a 7800 XT for $30. That's not bad. More. Yes, it does. Oh, you have a white build. Oh, okay. So you get a white. Okay, well, let's go right here. Let's go right there. You get a white build. That's not bad. So you can't beat that. What do you think? You think that's good for your white build? Me, I don't think it looks that bad. That's the back side of it. If you're doing a white build, this is the front side of it. So it doesn't look bad for a white build. Yeah, exactly. And guess what? It is only $29 more. Well, say $30. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. It looks like it does. It does right there in the front. Maybe that might be where the see that Radeon sign. It might be that and that right there. It might have. Let's see. But it don't look bad. Yeah, don't look. This doesn't look bad for $530. This does not look bad. I mean, I would even, if I had a white build, I would even buy this. You know, and as far as RGB, I wouldn't really worry too much about the RGB because you can always put RGB strips on, on the bottom side and still make it shine, with RGB on it. So save yourself a couple bucks and go that route. Put an RGB strip down at the bottom, and go that route, make it look good. I mean, if you want RGB because remember, white, well, it's got 3 fans. It should. Look, if you, in front of your case, now, okay, well, I mean, as long, the way I look at it is like this, okay? Now, if, let's say, let's go to PC case. Let's go to PC case. Let's say white. Okay, now I'm going to use this as an example. Okay, now you see this one here in this right here, this height. You see this in front, right? This right here. Now, the problem with this is, yeah, Sapphire is that I got a older Sapphire card here. It's a R5 240. And it still runs. And it's 1 gigabyte of VRAM. And it still runs. So I cannot say nothing bad about Sapphire. But for an example, I can't, and gigabyte, How small of a case? What do you have? What kind of case do you have? Let's start there. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. But for an example, if you got a case with glass front, okay, and it's got no airflow, people make this mistake of getting these cases with glass all the way around it and no airflow. And then what happens is that then their graphics card overheats, and then, you know, their processor overheats, and then, you know, they're stuck on an AIO cooler because their case isn't cooling off. That's one of the big issues that I keep telling everybody, is to stop buying these cases that don't have any airflow. Like this one right here. This right here. This one right here has absolutely no airflow. Do you think you get airflow out of the back of the case? Not with that panel there, you don't. You get 10% airflow coming in through that direction of those fans right there. Most of your airflow is coming out the bottom, which your PSU's blocking. Oh, yours has got lots of air? Okay. Well, if yours is something like, let's say something like this, right? Let's just say. And it's got a mesh front. Okay. This right here has got a lot of airflow. Oh, the Archangel from Skytech. Okay. Let's see. Is it something like that? Or am I close? Or is it something like this? This one right here for $800. Curious. Oh, wait. Well, this is a white one. Huh. Which one? This one right here? This one right here? Huh. Huh. Well, I'm looking at it, you know. Um, that is for $1,200. Oh, okay. So it's this one for $1,200. Ah, oh, oh, Lord. Mid-size case, yeah. This is a MATX case. Oh. Ooh. Different build? Oh. So I must have passed it. But I got the point. I got the point of what you're saying. Okay. Oh. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay. Well, still the same principle with, you know, most of your Skytechs, you know, except for that one. You know, I got pretty much the gist of it. But look, if okay, the point I'm going to make is this. Okay, if your case, I'm just going to use it as an example. If your case is like this, right? Let's say like this. Up there, you can get, up at top, you can get two 120 mil fans. So you get 240 mil of air, you know, exhaustion. So basically, you can exhaust a lot of air from those two 120 fans off of the top. You got one fan. Oh, Jesus Christ. You got one fan in the back. You got two on the top. You got three exhausting. This is the way I got my PC set up. I got one fan here. I got two fan at top, and I got three fans in the front. Okay, so I got six fans pulling the air from, you know, the front, coming out of the front and going forward and pushing up through the back like that. And I never have an overheating issue. Okay, is the radiator a 320 or is it a 240? Oh, on the top radiator? So is it a 240 radiator? So it's like a 240 millimeter radiator, basically. Or a 360. Oh, okay. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. But is it exhausting the air? Is exhausting the air? So basically, your case is positive pressure. That's what I'm asking you. Where it's positive, taking positive air, pulling it in, and then pushing it up and out. So if you got positive pressure going through your case, then you shouldn't have a problem. Small fans and only two. You need positive airflow. You need positive pressure going through. Only two out of the top. You got any front fans? You know, for the front of your case, do you have any front fans? Like this one right here. Like you got, let me make this bigger. Okay, right here you got, you know, three fans in the front, and it's pushing air in. So maybe that would be the problem that you're having, is you have no positive air pressure that's coming. Three fans on the front and one on the back. Okay. As long as the fans are pointed in the right direction to where it's pushing airflow into the case, and that the back fans and the back fan is pulling the air out, and the ones two on top are pushing the air out, you shouldn't have a negative airflow. It should be all positive airflow. You shouldn't have an overheating problem. Not unless your fans aren't spinning as fast. You know, like if they're spinning at like maybe 1300 RPM, you might want to increase the RPM and on your front three fans to give it more positive air pressure. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You know, I got you on that on the setup. Yeah. Yeah. I got you there. You shouldn't have an overheating problem. You should not have an overheating problem whatsoever. As far as the graphics card, okay, you shouldn't have an overheating problem. So that's good that you got all that, you know, going for you. Me, I'm going to tell you what I have. I have an air cooler. I'm running an air cooler. But my processor right now is only at 107 degree Fahrenheit. Not Celsius, Fahrenheit. So what am I doing right? So in a case like this, no. You would have to have a bigger case. You would seriously, you would have to have a bigger case to run that 3-fan card. That's the reason why over here, that's why over here I got 2 fans, because I have an MATX case. The 3 fans, that's what I got on 2 fans. I got 2 fans on mine. That would be your best bet. See, because an MATX case only has like maybe, so you need like 340 mil. Well, you figure 3 fans, if they're 120 mil fans, or they're 100 mil or 110 mil fans, or somewhere in there, you're still going to need 300, let's say 320 millimeters, 320 to 330 or 340 millimeters for length inside of your case. You're still going to need that length in the case. But, you know, with the 2 fan, you might be able to get away with 240 to 260 millimeters, which is, for an MATX to an ATX case, really is about the 240, 260 millimeters is adequate. Because I have approximately from the front fans about maybe this much room from the front fans in my case. Yeah. So you might want to think about that, because if, you know, my fans are normal size fans, but if I only got like maybe 1 inch to 2 inches left, you know, to the front, and it fills the case out, I really don't see you needing anything bigger. See, just because it doesn't have that 1 extra fan doesn't mean that the PCB inside is going to get smaller. The PCB doesn't change. Just the fan size and the cooler size changes. You know, the fans go from 3 to 2 fans and the cooler size changes. But I can tell you right now, my GPU is sitting at 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's in the case I got. 88 degrees right now. I'm looking at the temperature right here. I'm on the front. I have everything set up to where I can see the temperatures and everything else. So 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm running OBS and I'm running YouTube Live. You know, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You know, my processor's staying cool. Everything stays cool in my case. Even the motherboard stays cool. The motherboard stays at between 90 and 110 degrees. That's it. Nothing else. I get absolutely no heat coming out of that thing. Well, I agree with you. I agree with you on the fan bit. I agree with you 100% on that. Look, I got 6 fans in my case, 7, 8, 9 fans in my case. Out of 9 fans, if everything in this case cannot stay below 115 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, there's a problem. The maximum, when I put the max load on my case, the heat that comes out of here, I measured it at about 116 degrees Fahrenheit. Like 40 or from 40 to 55 C. Okay. And that's how I measured it coming out of my case and what's pumping out from the graphics card, the processor, and everything else. And I'm using an air cooler. But also, too, I'm undervolting the processor, so it keeps the processor at a low keel, but I'm still getting the same performance as you running it hardcore, but I'm running mine undervolted. So undervolting your processor is not a bad thing. I realize this, and that's the reason why I have a couple videos on that. You know, undervolting the processor. I have a couple videos on that. You know. Wow. 34C at idle. It should be lower than that. Let's see. Now, let me come back here and do my math. Let's see. Okay, let's see. You're saying that yours is at 34C. So you're running at 93. That's about correct. That's about correct at idle. Right, but that's about correct at idle is about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about right. You can't expect it to be any colder than that, not unless you're running air conditioner inside your your computer case, but I wouldn't even go that route because condensation would kill the motherboard. So maybe you want to, if your fan speed, you might want to increase it to like mine's running at 2,700 RPM. All my fans in this case are running at 2,700 RPMs. And my computer is right here. See, watch my hand. Right here. See? My computer is right there. And I'm running all my fans at 2,700 RPM. Now, this mic right here is right here. Right here, about maybe a foot away from my computer. Now, everybody talks about sound and everything else that, you don't want it overbearing and everything else. I don't hear a whisper coming out of my computer. That's the whole thing. I got 9 fans going and I don't hear a whisper coming out of it. And believe it or not, the front of the case, I don't have the mesh part in front of the case. I got it just directly straight as it is. I don't have a mesh front. So I took that off for a certain reason, is because I didn't want my airflow restricted. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I took the front of my case off. I just wanted to see the fans. And I took and doctored up the front a little bit. I took some silver tape and put it up and around the front of the case. There's my new case, my new front for my case. I just made the PC case the front. So it doesn't look bad. I doctored it up, but I wanted so much positive airflow for it to go through with the fans. I'm not worried about the dust. Okay, you can get a dust buster and clean up the blades. That's not a big deal. Okay, now the dust that goes inside my case, I cleaned mine 6 months ago. And as far as I had, dust was on the front 3 fans. But the dust on the front 3 fans wasn't that bad because of all the positive airflow. So you're not going to carry much dust with a lot of positive airflow going through your case. Well, see, there you go. If it drops temperature like that, then obviously you got some, if you have to increase your airflow, then that means your front of your case is restricting the air that's going through your case. I mean, that's the reason why I took my mesh front off of my case. I took it completely off. I wanted all that positive airflow just to go through. And it runs fine. My computer runs smooth, quiet, everything else. I don't need all that extra crap that everybody talks about just to make it quiet in your case. Okay, well, that's cool. Well, like I said, you can't hurt anything by messing with it. You can only improve it by, tinkering with it. Tinker with it a little bit. Get it to where you want it to run, not where everybody else wants it to run. You get it to where you're happy with it, not your friends or your neighbors or anybody down the street, just you. You make it to where you're happy with it, okay? And that's what I did with mine. I made it to where I'm happy with it. Yes, I don't have AM5 series. Yes, I don't have One of those new processors that are out. I got the B550 motherboard with the Ryzen 7 5700X, and I'm running RTX 4070 with it. Simple. Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for subscribing. Of course. That's what I don't see a lot on these channels when they do their live, is they don't work with anybody, they don't work with anybody on solving issues, and then you got somebody out there that, wants to get the positive answers, but they don't know how. That's the reason why I do a live once a week feed. Just to let you know, this is once a week that I do the live channel. Okay? It's on Saturday. Usually it's at 4 p.m. Usually. But I decided today to do it at 8 o'clock this morning. So, but next week it's going to be at 4 p.m. Yeah, it does. I do agree with you. I do agree with you 100%. Look, I just don't have a typical talk show. Okay? When you come on to the stream and I'm streaming live, if you got a computer problem, I'll be more than happy if I can to help you solve it. And that's the reason why I'm always watching the chat. Is because I want to make sure everybody, is happy and go lucky. But if you do have a problem, I don't have any problem whatsoever to sit with you for an hour or two and help you resolve your problem, even though that it goes off the what I had planned for today. Look, that's beside that. I can always plan that for another time. But when somebody has a problem with their PC and they need help, and I'm live, yes, I'll be more than happy to help you. I'll be more than happy to sit with you and work it out and see what you need and look for what you need. What would be the best way to go about things? Yes, I will work with you. That's not a problem. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to, help everybody out and make sure my information is solid, and to grow the channel and for y'all to tell your friends to come on out and subscribe. Put a thumbs up too. No, make sure you put a thumbs up because YouTube's being a butthead about things. So, but yeah, I'm here. I do 7 videos a week, 6 videos and 1 live video a week, and I've been doing that for over a year. But what really got me started onto wanting to do this was I've been hearing a lot of bad information that's been given out into the community, and I was asking long, back about a year and a quarter ago, I asked one of the creators, I'm not going to say who or what, but I asked one of the creators a question, and they blew me off like they didn't have the time. That really pissed me off. So that got me to think, why not? Let's do this. I was looking at the 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes, but the 7800 XT 16 gigabyte looks better. Yeah, you're right. It does, doesn't it? Because the performance is a lot higher than the 4060 Ti. The performance of the 7800 XT is more or less given better performance, little bit, about 1 to 2% better performance than the 4070. The RTX 4070 I have. So, yeah. It's a little bit there. But that's in rasterization. That's in medium rasterization, where everybody plays their games at. But on heavy ray tracing, that's where the 4070 is going to outdo the 7800 XT. Just in ray tracing. But if you don't use ray tracing, it doesn't matter. Okay? It really doesn't matter. If you're not using ray tracing and using more rasterization, where a lot of people sit now these days using that, that's basically where you want to be right now. Okay? Me, I use more ray tracing. So that's where I wanted to be. That's the reason why I got the RTX 4070 was for the ray tracing. So, but if you're into more rasterization, like 1080p, 1440p gaming, not 4K, 1080p, 1440p, then that 7800 XT is where you want to be. You know, but if you're wanting in heavy ray tracing and everything else, then you got to look at like the 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte is not bad on the ray tracing, but 4070 is like 22% faster than the 4060 Ti. So, the faster the bus, the better the card. The bus is like the go between when the GPU processing chip and the memory chip, the VRAM memory chips. So your best bet is to have a 256-bit bus than it is a 128-bit bus. I have a 192-bit bus. I wish it was 256-bit. That would make this card here even better. But 256-bit bus is basically set rate for 16 gigabytes. Is the best rate that's set for 16 gigabytes. That's where you want to be. Now, using a 128-bit bus, that's not where you want to be. Now, the PCIe 4.0, if it's only using 8 lanes instead of the full 16, you might want to think about that too. Because I think, is it the 4060? I think the 4060 is 8 lanes. I'm not sure. I didn't look on the 4060 Ti. My bad. It might be 8 or it might be 16. I'm not sure. But you don't want to run off of 8 lanes on any graphics card at any time. Because basically you're chopping half its legs off. You're trying to take, it's like the straw here. It's like the straw here. You're trying to shove, let's do an example. You're trying to shove this through this straw right here. That's basically what 8 lanes is doing. You're trying to do this. You want 16 lanes to where it flows through, like soda. So, basically, lanes are what comes off of your processor. Okay? Basically, it's like traces. You got a certain amount of traces, metal traces that goes from your processor to like for your the strip for your graphics card, the 16 prong strip that's for your graphics card. You got to go in there. You got 4 lanes that's going to your M.2. You got 4 lanes going to a coprocessor, which controls for your SATA, It's okay. Look, it's fine. I don't mind at all. It's kind of getting the rust off of my marbles here. So I don't mind the questions at all. I really don't. So, but you know, your motherboard's only got a certain amount of traces that goes to certain items. But when you chop the legs off, when you chop half of it off on your graphics card, then what are you doing with that other half? You know what you're doing with the first half? You're trying to shove your textures and, you know, everything through 8 pieces of wire, which, you know, got to travel a distance of a foot to a foot and a half to the processor, you know, and it's got brakes on the way and everything else. And you got to consider all that, you know, how are you going to get, you know, how are you going to get the textures to run correctly on your screen if you're chopping half the legs off of your graphics card? Instead of having more free flow, you know, more bio-directional flow by having all 16. Okay. Look. Right here, you have 16 lanes. Okay, right here. Let me get... when you cut half of that off, you cut half of that off right there, and you only got this much to run all that power, 75 watts of power that you got to put onto that card between, let's say, between 40 and 75. And you got to run that power through that little spot instead of having all this right here, all this, to where you can run the power, you can run, you know, your switching, your information, and, you know, everything that you need, because you got to run 12 volts, 5 volts, and 3.3 volts through all this on top of your flow of information going back and forth from the processor on top of all that. So, you know, it makes a big difference. Kind of. NVIDIA only never looked at the other cards until this year, or how the cards work. Oh, that's fine. Look, if I'm taking the time to show you how it works, that's not a problem at all. Trust me, that's not a problem at all. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Hey, look, if it gives you the information you're looking for and it gets you in the right direction, so that way when you put it all together, and then once you plug in your new card and you clear out the old drivers from your old card, and then you install new drivers for that card, then you'll be good as gold. You know, you will be good as gold. You're going from NVIDIA to AMD, you know, it's not bad. Yeah, but remember, you don't learn everything in one day. It takes longer than one day. Give yourself time, just soak it in, and then when you get it all soaked in and you know you're ready, then, you know, go forth with, you know, switching out your graphics card. If you're going from NVIDIA to AMD, you're going to have to do a driver. You're going to have to clear the drivers out, which there's ways you can clear the drivers out. You know, if you want to get rid of the NVIDIA drivers, which would be feasible if you're running an NVIDIA card and you want to take it back to stock, then basically you got to clear out the drivers. NVIDIA on their website, they have a program that you can clear out your drivers. Let me see if I can find that really quick so we can get that. information out to you. I keep a set of everything when something comes out or something new or anything else. I usually keep system software usually on a tight rope. Um, let's see. I guess I didn't keep that one on a tight rope, but we'll look. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the website. That's right, NV Clean Install. That's what it was. That's what it was. We'll go ahead and we'll switch you over there to the action screen. There, you can get it from Tech Power Up. If you get nvidia, you can download this from Tech Power Up, and that way you can get your you can clean out all the nvidia stuff that you got in there. Or if you decide you want to do the other way, you can type in AMD drive, AMD as my spelling's getting bad. Okay, so they have an AMD cleanup utility, and they show you right here for AMD. You have an AMD cleanup utility as well. So if you need a NVIDIA driver clean install, you can get it here. Or if you want, you can go to AMD's website and you can get it from depending on what drivers you want to clean up. Which this only focuses on the GPU. This doesn't focus on the rest of the software. If you got like an AMD how's that possible? I did have to worry about the bottlenecking with the 7800 XT with the R7 7700X. Huh. Let's see how that's possible. I really don't see how that's possible. I'm looking for you. No, that's wrong one. Oh my God. Let's see. I'm looking for you to see what the. I don't know. I really don't see that being possible. I don't see how that. I don't see how that's possible. No, 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 no. You don't worry about it. Look, I'm going to explain this to you. You're not bothering me at all. Okay, you're not bothering me at all. I don't mind having. I can do the whole segment on this. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. You're not bothering me at all. Do understand that. Okay. All I'm doing right now is I'm going through. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going through and seeing if I'm going through and I'm seeing what the bottleneck would be with your processor compared. I I mean, truthfully, I mean, some of these people are definitely going to be running the AM5 series. Okay. Okay. I want you to look at this. Now, these ones are probably undervolting their processor, probably, and they're getting 201% outstanding. Okay. Now, and this is for the 7800 XT. So with them getting that kind of number right in here, they're getting on an average 190%. Okay. And if your processor is bottlenecking your GPU, that's one thing. But I doubt the GPU will bottleneck the CPU. Because how I know this is I'm running AM4 series, and I'm running the 5700X, and I'm running the 4070, and even with me undervolting my processor, it's still not bottlenecking. The GPU still doesn't bottleneck my processor. Still doesn't. It never has. Once I undervolted it, and it's been running this way ever since. So it might be the fact of that maybe you got some settings that are not correct in your BIOS. It could be that, you know, you're trying to run that XMP or the new XMP that's out there, that's on your motherboard, instead of running it manually. That could be the problem you're having, is in your BIOS for your processor, causing it to be bottlenecked. You might want to, you know, roll it back a little bit and think about maybe undervolting your processor. I'm going to say undervolting because back then to now, everybody has always said when you undervolt it a little bit, you still get better performance when you undervolt. It's always been a rule of thumb. And you're most welcome. So when you undervolt and you look at the undervolting capabilities, I showed many a times I've got everything set to auto, and I'm only undervolting on the PBO curve, and I'm maximizing manually on the system RAM, and then the GPU voltage, I got it on a negative curve up to 0.0125, somewhere in there, on a negative stroke. So that way, basically, instead of it wanting to grab more power, it goes down, and the power goes down instead of it going up. So if you're getting more heat in your case, that's usually because the processor's grabbing and wanting that more juice, so it's going to struggle even harder to get that juice. But if it sees that it's down in a downstroke, to where, you know, that it's not able to get that power, but it can go down and stay less heated, but still give you the same amount of performance or greater. And you get less heat in your case. That's the best way to do it. I mean, I have a video that I did on the undervolting. I mean, pretty much the undervolting, it depends on which motherboard it is. But I can tell you on Asus motherboard what the undervolting was, but I can't tell you on MSI or Gigabyte because I don't have any of their motherboards in my hands right now. But I can tell you that on an Asus motherboard, I got that video out there that you can have a look at on how to undervolt. You know, shows you very, and plus I got a capture card and I did it very detailed. So, okay, cool. Yeah. But if you need any help on undervolting, I got a capture card. I have another Asus. I have that sleeper build that I did the video on. I have a video on a sleeper build I did. It's an E-machine. It's from 2012. So I did a sleeper build. I got a B450 motherboard in there with the Ryzen 5 5600G. No graphics card. Integrated graphics. It's got 1,000 watt PSU. The power supply is 1,000 watts. It's got a DVD drive. It holds 1 terabyte of hard drive space. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's just your basic sleeper. And also, too, the cards in the front work, you know, for the little flash cards. little phone flashcards. You can plug them into the front. That works too. I got that working. Everything in the front works. Everything, the microphone jack, the headphone jack, everything works on the front of that thing. And it's awesome. Oh, you have an ASRock? Well, it should still be the basic same principle too. Okay. All motherboards run off of the same basic principles when it comes to voltage. Your GPU processors, one thing. You'll end up having to do a little bit more research on the fact of your motherboard. I would suggest you do that. I got over 400 plus videos. You can binge all you want. I got many videos out there. So, and so far, doing pretty good too, from what I see. But, every motherboard, like Gigabyte, MSI, ASRock, Asus, they all got different settings on how to do things, on how to set up your motherboard. But they all carry the same principle of the voltage and everything else. Still carries the same legs with the voltage, You just got to do a little bit more homework on the fact of, because they use different names for the same items that, like Asus, let's say the PBO curve, they might have the PBO curve in there too, that, as long as you do it on a -15, -20 on your motherboard, that should lower your, that should give you a little bit of undervolting, cushion of undervolting right there on your PBO curve. Run everything else at auto. And that's the key trick. I run everything at auto, and I just do my little tricks that I do on the computers, like the PBO curve. I set mine at a -20. Like the voltage for the processor, I put it at a -0.01250, in between there. Like with the RAM, instead of me using DOCP, I ran that on auto, and then I turned around and set it in manually, because I know my RAM is 3200 megahertz. So I set it for 3200 megahertz. I know my RAM is the Infinity Fabric is 1600 megahertz, because you take 3200 megahertz, you cut it in half, gives you 1600 megahertz, which you set down in the Infinity Fabric, which it'll all be right there. So it's not hard to do that. I'm not overclocking the RAM. I'm setting it right to its max. Overclocking the RAM causes instability. You don't want it unstable. You don't want unstable RAM, because then you'll have a very bad gameplay. You want it just at the max. You just don't want it over the max. If I took mine from 3200 megahertz up to 3600 megahertz, mega transfer is what they call it now. If I took it to 3600 mega transfers, this RAM would be unstable. So we don't want to take it that far. Yeah, it will keep you busy for quite a while. It definitely will. But see, it's how you set your system up to fine line it, to get it to run just correctly. especially when somebody tells me they can't get, like, what was it, 240 something FPS off the same card that I have, but they got a bigger processor than me, and they still run 100 FPS short of me. How is that possible? How's it possible to run a 7800 X3D off of an AM5 platform, and to run the RTX 4070 and get 100 FPS less than I get off of my platform, which is AM4 and the Ryzen 5700X with the RTX 4070 and the B550 motherboard? I don't get it. Truthfully, I don't get it. Well, maybe because I do get it, because I have a little bit more experience when it comes to fine tuning the motherboard. The motherboard is the heart of the system. I'm always going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying it so everybody understands that. Motherboard, heart of system. It is the heart. It's what keeps your graphics card running. It keeps your processor running, your RAM running. It keeps your M.2 SSD drive running. It does everything. Your motherboard is the main component of your PC. So, I have a few friends at work. I will tell them to sub to your channel. Oh, awesome. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I really do. I do really appreciate that. Yeah, the more the better. See, now when it comes to, the more that I can get on here, if we can get past the 1,000 mark on subs, then, everything will go into the green. Then I'll be able to go forward and be able to do more things. Right now, I got to, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get over 1,000 plus subs. I am really trying, because, I was looking at another channel. I don't like comparing channels to mine, but I was looking at their channel. They got 4 videos, and get this, they got 4 videos, and they're over 400,000 or 500,000 subs. What am I doing wrong here? Somebody quote me on what I'm doing wrong here. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. For real. I do appreciate that. But I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I mean, is the video not, they don't look good enough, or my thumbnails suck? Y'all let me know. Tell me what's going on here. More than happy to leave your comments if my thumbnails suck. I know they suck, but anyway. So, yes. So, Machine, did you get all the answers you needed for your next upgrade for your graphics card? Oh, I guess that's what I'm doing wrong. I ain't paying for subs. That's people do that. That's up to them. I won't do that. I want everything legit. I want everybody to see this is for real. I don't want anybody to see there's bots on my channel. I want everybody to see this is real. I'm doing this legit. That everything is real. People here are real. You're most welcome. But That's the reason why I haven't did the bot pay for bot thing, because it goes against YouTube's rules, one, and I'm not going to break the rules. I know I should, but I won't. I'm the kind of person that's not going to break the rules, that wants to put my information up and out here for you all to enjoy. And also too, have a little bit of learning knowledge on the route towards greatness. So that way, when you run your PC, and it's many problems that I had when I was back down south and I was, working on other people's PCs. Now, there was a problem with it. They would go, everybody had the same song and dance. And I'm trying to figure out why everybody was having this same song and dance. I'll bring this up. I'll make it more clear that everybody overfills their hard drive. This is one. They overfill with the amount of apps that they have on their desktop. That's two. Because that, the more apps you got on the front of your desktop, that kind of lowers your RAM a little bit. I know everybody says, no, it don't. No, it don't. Yeah, it does. Okay. That having a large amount of apps on your desktop do take away from your RAM because of your textures. They're like little feeders. They, sucking that RAM off of your computer, kind of minimize your folders in the front, Yeah, I know. I do agree. They do die, but mine's going to keep going and I'm going to keep growing. Somebody told me one time, they said to me that my videos aren't good. I should give up and stop making videos. This was on a video, one of my videos, and I left it there. I am not ashamed. I'm not changing nothing. I'm not taking nothing off the videos. You guys see everything. I'm more transparent than my videos are as is, uncut, unsolicited, from beginning to end. When I record every video from beginning to end, that's the way it is. I just add little reminders in there for the subscribe and the ending of the video. That's it. It's uncut. It goes right to YouTube. That's what you all get. Just want to make a statement. Got a 1440p monitor, and it is way better than a 1080p. Way better than 1080. Never knew. I have 32 gigs of 5200 RAM. Well, I can't say that part, but I got your point. Okay. But if you, now I'm going to give you a helpful hint. If you take a little bit of advice and undervolt your processor a little bit, calm it down, and let your graphics and let that new 7800 take off like wildfire, your computer's going to run like a monster. You bring down and calm down your processor a little bit and let that graphics card take off to go right to 100%, get it right to the maximum frequency it's putting out, and get that VRAM on there up to its maximum point. Then you'll see a big difference in your gameplay, especially with 1440p. Very important. That's okay. That's okay. Hey, look. At least you didn't say the rest of the word. That's good. It's all good. At least you didn't say the rest of the word. You just put the letter in there, and you said blank that guy. Hey, that's cool, man. That's cool. But experiment. I always say, and I'm going to say this again: test, test, test. Test your PC out. Get paper and pencil. Start doing your testing. And then fine tune it once you got all your testing done. Test it with it being, set at stock. Then test it to where you modify the bias and where you set everything down to the low. And then you take and you clock your graphics card upwards, which you can do in AMD Adrenalin. So, if you got the 7800 XT with that 7700X processor, that computer should be smoking. I'm not as physical smoking, not like the dongle's going to catch fire like NVIDIA's 4090 smoking. No, I'm not going there. But with that 7800 XT and that 7700X, that should be, you should be getting all day long 200 FPS all day long. At least close to it. Between 100 and 200. Now, when you play your games, the minimal you want on FPS is at 60. So keep it between 60 and 200 to 300, you're good. As in fast, yes, as in fast. Because if you're running at 1440p and usually you ran that game and it was only giving you like 45 FPS, now, and that's off your old graphics card, now you switch to a new graphics card, you put in all new drivers, you took out all the old drivers, put all brand new drivers in, and then you turn around and you took and reset your bias and you undervolted your processor. And now that you're getting to the point of overclocking your graphics card, and then you play your game and you put your graphics card at that peak point. And when you play your games, now you're going from 40 FPS up to about 150 to 200 FPS. Look how much gain you have from 60 to 150 to 200. If you can get 140 FPS gain, then you're doing great. Okay, well, expect to run 120 to 140 on Ultra. Well, expect to run 140 to 160, 200 in Ultra with frame generation. So, and if you got the 7800 XT and you're getting only 60 FPS with frame generation on, then you got something that's not set correctly in your PC. Oh. I got a video on the 3050. Can I tell you, ouch? Don't be mad at me for saying that. Those 3050s might be good for, doing videos or something. But as far as gaming, ew. Hell no. And when I say no, hell no, I mean hell no. Like, ugh. For the price point, why would you I would never buy something for that price point. I would never, in my right mind, and I would never recommend to anybody. And understand this, I would never, ever recommend to anybody to run the RTX 3050. Hell no. Yeah, like I said, you're best off with the 7800 XT over the 3050. The 7800 XT is almost smoking doors off the 4070. And I know the 4070 smokes the doors off the 3050. Oh, well, okay. Well, yeah. Like I told you, you take and get the NV uninstaller, and you uninstall the drivers to that in that computer before you take the card out. I'm going to tell you this. Before you take the card out. Then after you uninstall the drivers with NV uninstaller, then turn your computer off. Then pull your card out and then put in the new card, the 7800 XT, and then install the drivers, the software, the AMD Adrenalin software, which will be currently the 23.11.1. That's the current driver setup. So, well, that's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna admit to you, that's not bad for $900. If you got the whole setup like that for $900, that's not bad. Really, that's not bad. But the card's like, ew. Truthfully, the card's like, ew. It's because of the amount of lanes it has and the amount of bus it has and the amount of VRAM it has. It might have a little bit of perks with DLSS 2, but it doesn't have AV1 encoding, Yeah, I mean, if I were you, and before the prices start going up, I suggest you get your graphics card as soon as possible. Or if you want to wait for the new Super Series coming out, which that's not going to be cheap from nvidia, which that, and I know that. You and me both know that. It's not going to be cheap from nvidia. I can tell you that much. You're going to be looking at, higher prices than I was getting at. So you're best off to, and believe it or not, you're best off to get in on the deals while you can still get in on the deals and get yourself one of those cards. Rip out the old drivers for your old graphics card. Put in the new graphics card, put in the new drivers. And also, too, I want everybody to think about this. When you go to uninstall video card drivers from your computer, Microsoft will try to stick their nose where it doesn't belong and try to put their drivers that they have on hand into your PC. So, word of caution, when you go to put your new card in, wait for Microsoft to install their drivers for the updated driver software. And then after that, go to your control panel and go to the display, or go to, display settings, and go to where your graphics card is, and reverse back. Oh hell, I'm just gonna take you all there. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just do this right now. So this way, what you'll do is we'll go all the way down to where it says Windows System. If you're on Windows 10, you go into the control panel like this. You go into the control panel, go into Device Manager. Okay, so go into Device Manager, go into Display Adapters. Right here where it says Display Adapters, right click, go to Properties, go to Drivers. Gives you a driver date, a driver version, which if you don't know what the driver version is, what you do is you can take and click on the page and scroll, right click and copy it. And then what you can do, I'll give you a little helpful hint. We'll go right here. Is you can take and paste it right here. And look, it tells me what the driver version is right there. 54601, which is the driver I'm using for NVIDIA right now. Right here, 54601. So I know I got the correct version when it comes to the drivers in my system. So, but if they install the drivers, Microsoft does, you'll see a button here that says rollback drivers. What you do is you'll come here, and then before you install your new drivers, you'll come back here and you'll roll back the drivers back to the display driver settings, the original settings that was it. You're pulling all that crap that they put in your system out. And then after you get done doing that, you hit OK and you get out of all this. And then you go and you pull up your AMD software, you know, that you might have downloaded from your driver downloads. You know, mine's a little bit more complex. See, you know, I got mine set up a little bit differently. So, see, I got all the drivers up to 23.5.1. I got to update my driver selection. But usually you'll come up with this. It'll come in to your download section in your computer. So you go from there and you install it from right there. And if you don't know where to find the driver for your updated drivers for AMD, then what you can do is you can go to AMD drivers, type it in, go to AMD support, and you can type in what kind of graphics you got. Let's say you got the 7800 XT. You can click on the 7800 XT, hit submit. Let's say you got Windows 10 drivers, and right here. So now you got 11/2/2023. See, 23.11.1. It's not hard. I mean, it's very simple. Okay. You uninstall it. Okay, we'll go backwards and we'll go backwards again. Okay. We'll X out of this. We'll X out of this. And then we'll go back into the control panel. Okay. Back into the control panel. You go into device manager. Okay. In device manager, right here, you'll want to display adapters. See the display adapters? All of it should be the same. It should be display adapters, and you take and right click on it, go to properties, go to drivers, and right where it says rollback drivers, roll back the drivers there. If you're going to be removing your card, roll back your drivers right there. Okay. Now, the trick is you're going to wait for Microsoft to do its update to that driver and then restart your PC. And then you're going to go back there again, and then you're going to roll back the drivers. But, no. Yeah. Well, you got the idea. So once you do that, you uninstall your card, you install the new card, and then Microsoft's going to try to send their drivers once again to the new card. So once they do, then you go back in here, and then, you roll back the drivers, and it'll ask you a reason. Tell them, for some, they'll ask the reason why you don't want to roll back, why you don't want to keep their drivers. Say because they don't work or something. They got a list of things you can pick. Just say they don't work or something. And then after that, they will stop harassing you on trying to send you, graphic card software and drivers. They'll stop harassing you. So after you've done that, that'll fix that little problem. So, but the thing is you don't want to keep it reoccurring, because when you go to do driver updates, if you're not changing, if your graphics card is going to stay in your same system, okay, and you're not changing anything out of the system, you've already pulled all your NVIDIA drivers out and software out, and you installed all new AMD software and stuff like that from the first time, then you shouldn't have to uninstall the drivers and install new drivers again. Just do your driver updates. You got it. There it is. Exactly. Just be careful. Microsoft is going to try to split their Microsoft updates onto, and in their updates, they're going to try to put their software, their driver software in there for your graphics card. So that's when you got to go back and you got to roll back the drivers. So that way you can go back to the manufacturer drivers instead of the Microsoft drivers. You don't want to use the Microsoft drivers. You want to use the factory factory drivers. Basically, if you got AMD, you want to use their drivers over using Microsoft drivers. Microsoft drivers are never up to date, and they always suck. So you don't want to use those. Just to tell you. The only thing Microsoft drivers are good for are for the basic stuff for your motherboard. That's it. They got their uses, and they got their ups and downs. But basically all the rest of the drivers. You can update your motherboard software, the drivers, by going to the motherboard's website and go from there. You can uninstall it from Adrenaline, yeah, but not NVIDIA. You can't uninstall NVIDIA drivers from AMD Adrenaline. You have to do an NV uninstaller, which I showed you earlier. You can always roll back through the, because this is going to be this live stream is going to be on my web the YouTube page for JJ's PC Builds. So it is copying there. If you want to roll back through the discussion, you can always roll back through the discussion of, you know, what you need to refresh on. So yes, your drivers and your software will be installed from your AMD Adrenaline software, the 23.11.1. So, yes, if that's what you're wondering. You'll download it from AMD's website and you'll install it from there. So, yeah, if that's what you're wondering. And all you got to do is go to AMD.com. Just type in AMD drivers in your Google search, and then it'll come up with, let me do it again. Let's see. We'll do it again. So we'll walk you through that. So just type in AMD drivers. And then it has AMD driver and support. Okay, now, whatever graphics card you got, it says search for your product. If you got the 7800 XT, click on that, hit submit. If you got Windows 11, there's Windows 11. So you can pull up, you can get 23.11.1 for Windows 11 and Windows 10. They're the same drivers, close to it. So, but if that's what you're wondering, there you go, right there. So, and you're welcome also. So, it's not hard. It just takes a little time and a little bit of practice. You know, me, I've been doing it all these years, so it's like a walk in the park to me. So, you know, simple. Nothing's hard about this. You know, let me give you a little, let me give you a little story here. Okay, let's roll back to, let's say, 1996. Let's roll back to 1996 a little bit. Let me get the screens all fixed. I'm going to roll you back to that. This is back then in the day to where PCs were everything fits as one. So basically, you got 5 different pieces in your PC. Like, you got a separate CPU from the motherboard. You got separate VGA. You got separate sound card. You got, the RAM's always going to be separate. But there are some times that they had video cards that had those, looks like a laptop RAM that they had on those cards back then. So they look like it was like laptop RAM that goes on your video card. It was crazy. Your video card was separate, and then you just got this one little chunk down below with a bunch of components on it. and something that was real dinky. It looked like a VRM. But mainly all your components were stuck onto an ISA slot. So, back then computers weren't simple. Now, these days, you can pretty much put anything with anything and make something out of it. You can put any motherboard from B450, I say B450, and AM4 up, or Intel, anything from 8th gen and up. You can put on the motherboard, you can put any graphics card. I can even run a 4090 on this. On my computer right now, I can even run a 4090 because it is simple. All it takes is a little bit of adjustment in the BIOS. That's where everybody gets all confused, is a little bit of adjustment into the BIOS. If you do your research on the BIOS and what the functions are, you don't have to go through every one of the functions. You only have to go through the functions you need to know to get you into that right spot. But you can do your research and research the whole BIOS and find out, for your motherboard, find out what's going on there. So this way you know what you're looking for. And, when you look online and people are doing all these videos, about undervolting, overvolting your BIOS, I never recommend overvolting. Okay. Either run it at stock or undervolt it. Never overvolt it. You're not going for, if you're just playing games, and you're not looking for record breaking speeds like they do on, where's that? See, I had a brain freeze. Like they do on Steam, the benchmarking on Steam. Yeah. I mean, do your homework. It's not going to be as hard. It's going to be very simple. You should be able to find everything out about your ASRock motherboard. You should be able to find out everything you need to know. I mean, it still carries the same basic principles as all motherboards. So what you need to do is you need to find out on that motherboard how to undervolt it just a little bit, and that'll bring down your temperatures of your processor. On top of that, now undervolting it will bring down the heat of your processor, but will increase your performance. So you never will have to worry about over throttling your processor. Because once you over throttle your processor, or you overheat your processor, it'll throttle down, and you'll lose speed off of your processor. You don't want to lose speed; you want to gain speed. So by keeping it undervolted, you're giving your processor a chance to meet its maximum capacity without the heat. So unless you're thinking about pushing your processor to 100C, I would think about undervolting it. Doesn't matter even if you got water cooling or not with these new AMD processors. But your best bet is to undervolt it. So that's just my opinion. You do your research on that, and you'll be in that right direction. And once you tinker around with it and you get it running just right, and you got that processor running nice and cool, and you're still keeping it below 60C. 60C when you're gaming heavy, then you got it correct on the processor. You know, if you can keep your graphics card at 60C, you know you have it clocked upwards just correctly, but you're not sacrificing putting performance on and leaving it on the table. There's a way to do it. Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. You know, it's just fine-tuning things is what people don't like doing now these days. So if you fine-tune your PC, it'll be like the musical instrument that's playing the best notes you've ever heard in your whole life. So when you're playing your game, you're just rocking. You ain't got nothing to worry about your PC. It's staying cool, and you know, you're just your mind is not concentrated on the heat in your processor. Your mind's not concentrated on the heat in your PC case. Your mind is concentrated onto the game. That's what you want. So actually, no, that is not on the hotspot, but by bringing down the temperatures, by undervolting the temperatures, that'll actually bring the hotspot temperature down on your motherboard and your processor, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, on your graphics card, I'll tell you, on mine, the most it got up to was 74C. That was it. Even though that the temperature only got up to like maybe 62C max, but the hotspot going up to 74. That's just by it. And me testing, that's a brand new card. Out of the box. Brand new out of the box. So, I thought about repasting it. I really did, but right now, it seems to be running just right. I don't see the need of repasting. What you really worry about is when the hotspot gets up over 80C. That's when you start worrying about the problem. Then you know you got a heating issue somewhere. Because if you can't keep the hotspot below 75 degrees, then there is a problem. Then you got a repasting. You got thermal compound issue. So let's see. Compound right here. MX4. Everybody can tell me all in the world that MX6 is better and this and that. I use this right here by Arctic off of Amazon. MX4. I repaste about once every 4 years. About once every 4 years with this stuff. I'm still using the same paste I have on my other build, and it's still running. It doesn't overheat. And it's been on there about almost 3 years old. It's about 3 years old now. Still the same paste. Have not touched it yet. So I will stand behind the MX4. MS6 might be better. I don't know. Yeah. If it gets to 93C, then the problem is that your processor's overvolting when it's set on automatic. That's one. I had that same problem too. that when you get it out of the box and set it auto, what happens is it will push it to its max, but then it starts throttling down. And that's the problem you want to eliminate. So to eliminate it in the PBO curve would be to set in the PBO. It's called PBO, precision boost overdrive. They got inside there, they got the curve, the PBO curve. You go in there, you set it at a negative, and you set it at a negative 20. This will bring down your heating issue on your processor. You won't lose performance, but it'll bring down some of the heating issue on your processor. And then you go in, you set the voltage on your processor, the chip itself, you set it on a negative curve to 0.01250. This will keep your processor, instead of it hitting 1.2 volts to 1.35 volts, it'll keep it down to 1.2. Let's see. Hell, I'm just gonna bring. What am I gonna bring up? I'm gonna bring up. Where was it? Okay, give me a moment. We'll get there. Let's see. Okay, let's pull this up. We're going to pull up a GPU-Z, and I'll show you why. Okay. I use GPU-Z all the time. Okay, now, go to sensors. Now, in the sensors, hopefully y'all can see that. If y'all can't, then we'll make it bigger. Hold on. We'll make it bigger for you. Let's see, that's 2. That's 2. Let's see, let's go to 175. Okay. So, now we made this bigger for everybody, so y'all can see. Okay, so, you got your GPU temperatures, and you can see mine right here. See how low mine are? And do remember, streaming to YouTube, this puts a load on my system. And this is how it's running right now. Sorry, not the GPU, but not the CPU, but GPU. Hotspot, I meant. Okay, this is what you're meaning right here. Hotspot. This is what you're talking about, the GPU hotspot. See where my arrow is? Right here. I'll circle it around there. Right here. Says GPU temperature right here. Says hotspot right here. Pull this down a little bit. There. See how they're equal? Close to it? And how, you can see how close to equal they are. Like within 0.45 degrees? Okay. Now, that means it's because I'm undervolting my processor. I mean, I'm not, oh, wait a minute. Jeez. GPU, not CPU, sorry. I'm not undervolting my GPU. My bad. Okay. Now, I'll bring this over here. Okay. I'll bring this right here. This is what my GPU is running at. Okay, it's the memory's not clocked out. The core's not clocked out. The voltage is not clocked out. Okay, fan speed I have at 75%. Round the clock, 75%. The temp limit's at 84. The power limit's set at auto. Basically, it's at 100%. It says auto. So, okay. Now, this is with MSI Afterburner. This is not with AMD Adrenalin. I'm just giving you an example. You can do however you want with AMD Adrenalin. It's about almost the same thing. So, almost. Doesn't mean it is. You know, you still got, you know, the other little stuff that they give you, you know. So, but right now, sitting idle, which I shouldn't be sitting idle, but it is. This is the normal 2520 megahertz. That's normal on the RTX 4070. And 10,501 megahertz is normal sitting on the 4070. And 944 millivolts at 89 degrees Fahrenheit right here. 89 degrees Fahrenheit. That's normal. It's basically I'm streaming like, you know, it's sitting at idle, basically. So looking at this, now me streaming, board power draw, look, I'm only drawing 40 watts. Right here, 40 watts. As you can see, I'm not drawing much board power at all. Nothing. Nada. So, oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, yeah, you can go to Tech Power Up and get their, or you can go and get GPU. I got mine from Tech Power Up. You can get GPU Z, you know, and it'll show you everything you need to know about your graphics card. Okay. You can see right in here if there's any issues or any problems with your graphics card. It'll show you right in here. You know, if it doesn't show support here, then you got a problem with your graphics card. You know, it'll show you if there's any problems. But usually base clocks. This is the base clock here. This is the base memory. This is the boost. But that's untrue. The boost is in 2520. This is my base clock is at 2520. They kind of got this a little mixed up. So, but usually right here, this will change into the frequency that you have it set to. But yeah, mine's PCIe 4.0 X16. And it tells you everything you need to know about, you know, your GPU. And also too, you can go to the sensors. You can see your GPU clock. You can see your memory clock. You can see your temperatures, your fan speed. Right now, mine's down to like, looks like my fan speed's down to like 2,400 RPMs. I thought it was set at 27. I guess I'm going to have to turn mine up a little bit more. But I really don't need to because I got it undervolted. And so 2,400 is really good, I think. So, another question, if okay. Yeah, of course it's okay. On the 4070, the VRAM, oh, Oh, yeah. It's a PCIe. If you're wondering why it's 6X. Okay. Well, let's go back to that. Right here, the GDR6X. Yeah, the VRAM. The memory type. The GDR6X is extreme. Extreme. So you got GDR6 and you got GDR6X. It's basically, it pushes it at a different clock level. Basically, it goes to a different level. So you got your GDR6 and you got GDR6X. The best you can have on the market today is 6X. That's for your VRAM, the chips, the best you can have on the market is 6X. If you're wondering that. Yeah. Well, yeah, the 4060 Ti is just 6. But if you go to look at let's see. Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up really quick. If you go to look at the 4060 Ti, okay, we'll just go look at. Doesn't matter if it's the 8 gigabyte or the 16. They're both the same. You're welcome. No problem. Doesn't matter if it's the 8 or the 16. They're still running the same within a matter of 1%. Okay, so you see right here where it says bus interface right here where it says PCIe 4.0 X8. Now, the PCIe 4.0 X8 means, again, half the lanes that you would get off of an X16. Okay. Now, if you go to, let's say, the RTX 3050. Specs. Okay. Now, going to the specs of the 3050, guess what? PCIe 4.0 X8. So, X8, X8. Now go to the relative chart on the 3050. You're gonna move up to the 4060 right here, which is 59% faster. Okay, 59% faster. The 4060 is compared to the 3050. 39% or 59% faster. Now, this is going to blow your mind. Let's go up to the 7800 XT is 165% faster than one you have now. It's 165% faster than the 3050. So, taking it up to that next level, you see what I mean. But if you look at the 4070, which I paid $600 for. I paid $600 for mine. Okay, compared to the 7800 XT. So you get your calculator out. This is how I do it. You turn around, you look at your 4070 and say it's 247. and you minus that from the 7800 XT, which is 265, okay, 18% difference between the 7800 XT and the 4070. And the price point that the 7800 XT for $530 is valued and adjusted for. So that means it's worth its value. At this point, and you paying $530 for it is well adjusted for the value. It's well worth it. So that's something to think about too. So, but looking at that price point, I mean, going to the 3050, you know, I can see why, you know, you're not too satisfied with the 3050. Nobody would be satisfied with the 3050. You know, just saying. Yeah, you should. If you undervolt your processor and get that under control, get the heating under control, okay, that's going to give you a plus by undervolting. Next step would be to get a graphics card that's more powerful, that's just equal to the power of your processor. I wouldn't say more powerful. I'd say equal to the power of your processor, which the 7800 XT should equal it should equal up to the power of the one you got. So yeah, I think those would be a match. If you got a really good motherboard, that has the VRMs are really good, like they're a 12 plus 2 plus 2, VRM system. If it's got really strong VRM, then I don't foresee, you having a bad combination. I really don't. The only thing that I can see that could be hindering your situation could be that, your motherboard can't handle some of the load of your processor, causing the bottleneck. That could be a problem too. You might want to think about that. But with ASRock and that motherboard, you shouldn't be having a problem like that. I can tell you that. You're welcome. You're welcome. But you shouldn't be having a problem with the ASRock motherboard. I really don't see it. But like I said, this is how you do it. Undervolt, test. Test it first at stock. Undervolt, test. See the difference between the two for your processor. Once you get your processor under control and the heating comes down, you bring the heating down. Then for what I'm seeing after that, and you slap that new graphics card in with the processor under control, it should run gravy. It should run the way you want it to run with no problem. Mine don't run it. Mine does not run at no problem whatsoever. I do not have one bit of a problem with mine. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to move everything around a little bit. I'm running two monitors. Look. when it comes to helping somebody out, this show can become anything I want it to be. Because I have that privilege of working with somebody to help them out is not a problem with me. I enjoy doing that. Helping somebody out get into the right direction, that's not a problem. Why you haven't been on my Discord page, we're going to talk about in a little bit, but you know, you can always leave questions there if you have questions. And if you don't know how to get to the Discord page, I can hook you up there. All you got to do is go into the About section of my email service, which is right there, my email address. Email me, and I'll send you the link to the Discord page. Do remember that. If you want to become a Discord, Discord JJ's PC build member, you can do that too. Yes, I do have a Discord, and I'll be more than happy to send you the link. Not a problem. Not a problem. Let's see. Let's dig. I have no problem sending the links, and I have no problem sending the links at all. Not at all. Okay, let me get out of this. Minimize this. All right. Okay. Now, let me switch the screens. Boy, there's a lot of switching going back and forth today. I'm going to keep this at Ultra, DirectX 11, and hit run. Now, the thing is I'm sitting here streaming to YouTube, right? I'm playing that, and let's see what it's I just want you to see what kind of FPS I get. And this is having benchmark. Over 500. $400. If you have a problem with the email, then what I'll do is this. I will I'll just type it in. That's JJ's PC builds dot, don't forget the period, .usa at yahoo.com. There, I'll just make it easier and just put it right there for you. So all I can say is that, you know, if your PC can't get better than mine, and I know mine is not at AM5, and I know mine's not at AM5, mine's at AM4. You should be getting way better than me at AM5 specifications, truthfully. So that's just my spill of it. You know, if you're running AM5 series and you know you're running this, let's say the same graphics card as me, and you're not getting the same speed as I'm getting, you're getting like 100 FPS less or different, then you either got too much running on your system, you either got the BIOS set wrong, you know, like I said, test. You want the maximum performance without a lot of heat and, you know, with you thermal throttling, then test. I'm going to keep saying it and keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you don't test, you'll never know. Look at Gold Rush, you know, that TV show Gold Rush. You know how many drill holes they got to put into the ground to find the gold? In order to find the FPS, they have, you know, you have to test. As they're trying to find the gold, they got to test. So if you don't test, you'll never know. Okay, well, while you sent the email, we will check and see if you sent the email. Huh. Interesting. Did I spell it right? Yeah, I did. I spelled it right. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I'm waiting for it to come in. All right, well, we'll wait on it. I'm sitting there looking for the email. What I'll do is while I'm waiting for that, I can make it even simpler if you want me to. I can make it even simpler. Let's see if I can make it simpler. Hey. Let me see if I can make this simpler. Okay. Okay, we'll make this simpler. There you go. We'll make that even simpler. I'll just send you in the chat. I'll just send you the Discord link. That'll make it even better. Alrighty. Well, Machine, I hope that helps you out because I got you linked in right there. So, hopefully we can get you in there. Well, actually, anybody can use that link to get in on the Discord channel. Not just, and believe it or not just one person, anybody. Oh, there we go. Hi. Hi. And we got you in there, Machine. Now you're on the channel. I wonder why it brought you here. Oh no, you're there too. Okay. There's different buttons. I'm going to tell you. There's one that says JJ's PC chat, PC channel, and there's one that says general text chat. You should have the one that says general text chat. Just to let you know. So you should have one on there that says general text chat. I seen you got in there. I seen you got into the Discord. Well, welcome to Discord as well. Just to let you know that. We got you. Okay. So. Oh, okay. No problem. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. Oh, boy. What else? What else? But. Hey, look, Dakota's there. Look, Dakota's there. I'm there. There's many people there. Okay. I just want you to understand. Did my stream drop? Oh, boy. Oh, there it is. Okay. Almost had me scared for a moment. Thought my stream dropped. Look, Dakota's there. He's usually on stream with me on Saturdays. You got Arkeem. He's there too if he's not busy or anything. You know, you got me. You know, I try to be there when I can. And if I don't get to you right away, I always have a rule of thumb that if I don't answer you within 72 hours, make sure you hit me up again. Because usually I go from 24 to 72 hours if I'm like super slam busy. But usually I try to get in on everybody's, answer everybody's questions and everything else. So there are going to be some people there that's on Discord as well that can help. Just to let you know. If I'm not there and you need an answer right away, then, you know, you can go from that. So. Cool. We definitely see you in there. We definitely see you in there now. Yeah, we got you in there now. Okay, so alrighty. So, but anyway, I'm going to end up having to get out of here, guys. Machine, I hope I answered your questions on what you needed to know. I have a couple things I got to go take care of. Catch me on Discord later. I'll be on Discord later. I will try to be on Discord later. Okay. Might not be till maybe 7. Well, probably not until about 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You can catch me on Discord then. But make sure y'all tell your friends and your family and everybody, your neighbors, your cousins, your uncles. Come on down and subscribe to JJ's PC Builds. Most definite, most definite. You're most welcome there, Machine. You're most welcome. Like I said, you want to leave me a personal message on Discord. You're on my Discord now. You can be more than happy to send me a personal message. I will answer them, and you will, try to do the best I can to get to you to answer them, and all that. But, yep. But anyway, everybody, y'all have a great day, and y'all stay safe, and y'all try not to party too hard because it's Saturday, and it's Saturday night, and everybody gets into trouble, and you don't want to get into trouble. So your best, if you're going to drink, stay home. If you're going to drive, don't drink. You know how that rolls. You as well, Machine, you have a great day as well. And y'all have a spectacular day. And we will see you on, you know how it goes, the next video.